Morning, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Will Ralston, president of SinglePoint OTC, ticker symbol SING. I am here with the CEO and founder of Direct Solar, Pablo, to my right, and I have the CEO, founder of SinglePoint, Greg, to my left. Today, we're going to be chatting a little bit about the acquisition of Direct Solar, all the different projects that we have been discussing and releasing to the public about how many installs, in fact, Direct Solar has been doing, as well as some of the up-and-coming commercial side of the business that we're thrilled about the different opportunities in the financing in that market, as well as the installation and sales that we'll be completing. So, look forward to chatting with you two and talking about the future of Direct Solar and SinglePoint, and let's go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Thanks for the introduction, for sure. Super excited. The 15th of this month will be the end of our second month. And quite frankly, from my opinion, humble opinion, we had a goal of hitting certain gross numbers and certain net numbers by day 90. We hit them by day 60. So the trajectory's good, accelerated. The business opportunities that are opening themselves up, the natural relationship that we have now with our parent company. There's just a lot of new activities coming to the doorstep, a lot of new opportunities. We'll get into that. Excited to share that right now. But as Greg was, we were discussing earlier, kind of wanted to share how the contract origination translates into revenue. And I think you had some things you wanted to share to discuss on that, Greg?
Well, just that SinglePoint couldn't be happier with the acquisition. In fact, since the acquisition, our stock is, depending on what day it is, I know it's up 17% today, but has gone up 50-60%, and the volume has gone up. So it's been a great acquisition to announce to the shareholders that this company is really doing the revenues. And then again, as I stated before, I just want to let the shareholders know that these numbers will actually come out in the third quarter, and we expect them to be $2-3 million. You won't see them in the second quarter, but you will see them in the third quarter. That's just kind of the nature of the solar business. There's really, whether it be 45, 60, 90 days before the deal is closed. So I wanted to get that out there. The other thing that I thought was interesting, as Pablo had mentioned earlier, every time we put a press release out or a video of Direct Solar, he was telling me that he gets leads and business off of that. So both businesses, if you want to separate them, the public side and the Direct Solar side are really feeding well off of each other right now, and it's really working out. That's the bottom line. This acquisition, this relationship has been amazing so far, but the real truth to be told is what we're going to see in 6 months, a year, and 5 years down the road. I personally think this business can go to 50, 100 million.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to get some detailed orientation in there for shareholders and potential shareholders, let me isolate one solar transaction, if you will, right? If I go to your house, Greg, and you decide that you want to go solar, you go through our process, we educate you, you decide that, you view our proposals, we teach you about the industry, you decide that you want to move forward, we structure the contract with the contractor who best fulfills your needs. So contracts are sided with the contractor. Then we structure the capital, the bet that has the best credit profile selection for you, that has the most economic return for you. So we structure the capital. It's a fully docked deal. It's ready to go. All docs are in place. Everything is executed. Actually, our scope of work ends at that point. Right now, it goes over to the contractor to install. But we don't sell widgets, right? We sell a miniature utility system on your house. So then the design portion begins. We do a pre-design, but the actual design portion with the contractor begins. The construction process, pre-construction, and then at installation. So that whole pre-construction installation process, that could be between 45 to 90 days. Once that's done and you're installed, then the different lenders that we placed in the industry relationships that we have, then they fund the project. So, technically from our side, we have sales orders, we have fully docked out deals, if you will, and the funding occurs at installation, and hence, if something is sold in Q2, you're going to see it in Q3. So, what I'm saying, Q3, they're going to see, the actual revenue hit the books.
Yeah.
But we're doing phenomenally well again, and our growth trajectory is exactly where we wanted it to be. It's going faster than we wanted it to go, actually. Well, than we expected.
Yeah.
I was kind of pushing that on the last video. I was shooting for day 60 and we hit it. So, and as far as this relationship, I mean, it couldn't be the synchronicity that we have together is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You pull what you are best at, we pull up what we're best at, and it just blends really, really well. So we couldn't be happier about the situation, that's for certain.
Yeah, I think it's important to back up a little bit because Pablo's an expert in solar, but we've known him for probably 10 years, and just last year or 2 years ago, he had a solar business where he was in 5 or 6 states, and he had warehouses and trucks and employees, and he was doing pretty good revenues, 10 million, and just the courage of him to totally change his business plan and get rid of all those warehouses and trucks and go to more of a lead generation narrative. Talk about 1-800-Flowers or Uber. What he's effectively done is he doesn't have all of that baggage, if you will. He's just owning the customer, and him and his team are extremely good at sales and marketing and lead gen. So what that's allowed him to do, and what we got excited about as a public company, is now just like Uber, they don't own any cars, right? Just like 1-800-Flowers, they don't own any florists. Mm-hmm. Well, we just own the customer. So to scale is amazing, and he's proven it, and we're proving it from basically doing maybe 1.5 million sales in 2018 to where we're looking at projected for 2019 maybe 6 million plus. So congratulations on having the courage to make that move, and to be quite frankly, as a public company, we're not really looking for a business where they say, well, next year we're going to add one more state. Instead of doing 10 million, we're going to do 12 million. We're looking for a business where if everything goes right, it could go to 50, 100 million. And I think that's what's exciting here.
Absolutely.
This is really and solar's hot, and with Pablo's direction, this business really could take off. In fact, if we have a competitor, one that we know of, I believe they're doing 300 million. So yeah. That's the limit here.
Yeah, they're doing. When we started in this model, we didn't have a solution to mimic, right? Like
yes.
When you get into a business model, I could follow this restaurant,
right.
Something to base your business model. We didn't have that. It was really just an analysis of the industry and what it needed. It was I'm not going to say that I'm losing some nights of sleep contemplating this move, but it was the industry needed it, and thank the solar gods,
yes.
We fulfilled a function, and it was really just capitalism working at its best. You see a hole and you fill it, and you fill it correctly, and you put all the infrastructure and layers in place, and if you're working it effectively, it's gonna. Usually, I've seen historically, the revenue begins and it starts flowing, and I could just see it early on that it was the accurate solution. To that effect, I just want to add that every time I know I'm an authority in this space, right? I've been everywhere, raised capital, done the construction side. And then when I speak to contacts that have been in professionals in this space, and we tell them what our business model is, every single time, 100%, I've never heard, darn, that's not the right solution. Every single time that's exactly what this space needed. And it might sound rudimentary, but remember, this industry is 11 years old, 2008. It's 11 years old now. We're really bringing sophistication to the sales side of the equation.
Yeah.
And what is Uber? They just connect service providers with customers. What is Rocket Mortgage? They connect service providers with customers, but they build infrastructure and scalable infrastructure so that these service providers can focus on servicing whatever they're doing. Customers, they create a simplistic format to get from point A to point B, and they handle everything in between. And that's what we do for us for solar, or even alternative energy for that matter.
Yeah.
We provide a medium where customers have more options, without having to make difficult choices, having to relearn everything again, and we handle the whole process from them A to Z. Contractors are happy because we're bringing them free business. Their customer cost of acquisition, shrinks down to zero. And as I, travel the country, moving into new markets, the more sophisticated the contractor, the more time he's had to analyze his economic data, his cost of customer acquisition on the front end, if he does everything that we do, doesn't improve his margins on the back end. Mm-hmm. And that's really part of what our analysis was too. I was looking at our margins when we were a contractor, and we still ended up with 9-10%, because we were spending so much cash flow on the front end to pick up a customer, so much so that, as a matter of fact, Solar City, which is now Tesla, they got rid of everything that we do. They don't do that anymore because they sat down and analyzed it. It cost too much for them to acquire because they were trying to be completely vertical. They were trying to do customer acquisition, construction. I mean, it's too much.
Yeah.
The bandwidth that you need for what we do, it's so wide. So we're filling a hole in the landscape. It is, maybe it's a good transition. It has provided opportunities where what we've done on the direct solar residential side, there's a real need for that on the commercial side, right? And there is capital, there's private equity funds that have been approaching us that want us to help them distribute capital into the commercial solar space of the industry. So when I say commercial solar, just to get a little detailed, and pardon me if I go, get a little wonky here.
Oh, it's great. You're the expert.
Yeah.
We're
Paul Ryan this thing here.
Expert in solar.
But there's 3 buckets of capital in the alternative energy industry, but solar for right now, right? One is for residential, a lot of sophisticated Wall Street money going into that, and it's made it the capital is readily accessible and easy to apply and fund projects quickly, hence the growth trajectory that the residential side is seeing. There is a lot of capital, Wall Street capital, for large-scale projects, 5 million plus. That's because investors, if they're going to spend the time to fund a project, they want to spend their time on a $5 million project versus $500,000. Because same work, $5 million is going to make them a lot more than $500,000. There's been a big hole for funding in small to mid-cap businesses, $100,000 deal, $50,000 deal to $600,000, $700,000 deal. So now, when we go to market and we run into new relationships and our press release hit the market, we find private equity funds that want to get into the space, and specifically we have 3 that we've already onboarded 2, onboarding the 3rd, that want to cover that space, the small and mid-cap sized companies, and they just don't have the distribution network in place, the sophisticated distribution network in place, because capital, it's a full-time job dealing with the capital side of an equation. God knows I've worked on the capital raise side, and it was more than a full-time job. What we do is more than a full-time job. Going to market, creating processes and procedures so that deal flow is managed, so that the capital side are, our funding partners, they're looking at real projects. That all takes infrastructure, time, investment, and if they can outsource that to us, which they're happily doing because we're onboarding funders as we speak, our commercial solar side is going to go live. I mean, it's not a matter of weeks, it's maybe a week or 2. We've hired our executives, our processes are being finished, lead flow is being finished, all the pieces are in place. But I like to, I call myself slow fast. I'm slow to get into something, but then when we do, it's fast. So we're connecting all the dots so this can be methodical growth.
Quick but don't hurry, right?
Quick but don't hurry.
Yeah.
Let's get when I was younger, I was like, I never understood the tortoise and the hare scenario. I was like, no, I'm the tortoise, I'm the hare. But then, I fell in enough holes while I was running because I wasn't seeing where I was running to.
Sure.
The tortoise always wins the race because slow and steady but fast. So, direct solar commercial business side of our house here is going live within the next week or two. All the pieces are in place. We're really excited about it. We're going to be throwing out some projections, and it's going to be impressive. The capital side is in place. Just the conversations that we've had with the market as far as this capacity that we're going to bring this capital to the marketplace. Everybody's excited, and we have some really good expectations on that side of the house for sure.
Yeah, well, and one thing I wanted to touch on with that is everything we've done so far has been residential only. So all the revenues and all the contracts that you have seen us talking about has been completely residential and only in about 6 states, right?
Correct.
So with this, not only with adding the commercial, but also adding additional states, talking about scalability, which Greg was alluding to earlier, we really have an opportunity to operate nationwide because all we have to do is go in and set up a new relationship with the contractor or installer, and we're off and running. So the scalability and adding additional states, adding additional services, being commercial, really brings a huge opportunity for direct solar.
Absolutely.
I think one of the other things to let the shareholders know is that not only with SinglePoint's funding into direct solar, but with also direct solar's being able to take that funding and create revenue and profits, both companies are profitable in the first month of operation. So that's the holy grail. And when those third quarter numbers come out, I hopefully, optimistically, get all the right words in there. I mean, I see this being a 10 to 20 cent stock, showing one third quarter, somewhere around 2 or 3 million. And then the sky's the limit after that. I mean, as I said before, I think this company can grow to a $50 million company. So again, our goal is to get those revenues and apply for the NASDAQ and be able to raise the necessary money to put into direct solar to allow it to grow to as big as it can get. So.
Well, I think one thing I want to touch on before we kind of wrap this up here is the one market, and one big reason we got into this as well was actually, the commercial side of it, and specifically the cannabis hemp space, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And we're pretty excited to launch that, and I don't know if maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse here, but I believe the site will go live here fairly soon, and it's going to be Grow Green Solar. Is that correct?
Yes.
This is an exciting development for us because we've gotten inquiries about this already, and to launch this arm of the business into that commercial space for the grow ops is huge.
One of our funding partners, and again, this is private equity, capital equity, is that specifically their half of the battle in funding projects is finding the right investor with the right deal. Literally, like what are their sweet spots? What do they like? What don't they like? We have one of our funding partners specifically is very comfortable, wants to focus on grows the cannabis industry.
Nice.
And so as the deal flow comes in, we just have to place it with the right funder. Our processes are in place to fund projects with our funders, and it should flow very organically well.
Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, thanks for bringing that up, Will, because really, SinglePoint has narrowed its focus down as best it could to solar and CBD. So, these are two very hot verticals, and just imagine direct solar being one of the leading companies in the country that is putting solar on these greenhouses, because all these new states are opening up in Illinois and Michigan and Florida. So the whole East Coast is opening up, right? And those are big populated areas. So I guess it would be a branch of our medium-sized commercial businesses.
Absolutely.
But we're happy to talk about it. Anyway, I think that the purpose of today's interview or video, if you will, was to after 2 months to really continue to let the shareholders know where this company is going and how exciting it is. So hopefully we can bring the shareholders an update every month like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love to bring them into the home
Yep.
space, see what we're doing, and because we're constantly working towards growth and positive growth, right? Structured growth, methodical growth. Growth can kill you, but it could also elevate you to the top of the mountain, and that's where we're going to follow that path.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Just for the viewers, we are at Direct Solar's offices. Okay.
Yeah. So again, excited, looking forward to rolling out the commercial infrastructure and space, and I'm sure we actually have a lot more information to share, but maybe for another date.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. Again, my name is Will Ralston with SinglePoint OTC, ticker symbol SING. We're here with Pablo. We're here with Greg. We look forward to chatting with everybody again and giving you as much insight as we can. Go Sing.
Go Sing.